You okay?
Why wouldn't I be okay?
Here at GLAAD, we love Brilliant Minds so much because I feel like the show dives into complex stories of really healing and connection. Like doctors working with patients to find new normals, not necessarily a solution, really to find out who they are. And I feel like at a time when censorship of marginalized voices is so rampant, healthcare for trans people is being stripped away, people would want to know, why did the both of you want to be a part of this kind of storytelling masterpiece?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think the complexity of the characters that our show represents, the multifaceted nature of these relationships and who the doctors are and who the patients are, playing an openly gay character as an openly gay actor at a time when our community is really under attack in so many ways, I think is valuable from the perspective of representation. I feel grateful about that. I think that there is something about the mental health aspect of our show that is resonant and important. I've always said that the highest compliment that anyone could pay the show that we're making is if they see themselves in the stories that we're telling. And by and large, I get that feedback quite a bit. So I feel like we're doing something right as long as that's true. That's what drew me in from the beginning and what keeps me coming back.
What about you, Teddy?
What drew me to it in the beginning is not why I love it now. I mean, it was a pilot script. I really resonated with Josh. I just thought I understood a guy who did things by the book per se as a doctor, was driven to do really well and do well by his patients, but also to work in the medical establishment where there was a little bit of an element of the pilot of, well, I've done my job. Now I have to go do, the next surgery. I'm the surgeon. I'm not the neurologist. So let me do my thing and you guys do your thing. And then in Walks Wolf, there was a cut scene from the pilot where Josh and Wolf go out for a drink just to kind of like, hey, we got off on the wrong foot. And Josh confesses, hey, I know you, like you are known in this community, and you have a bit of a reputation, and that reputation not only precedes Wolf, but it stands up. I mean, Wolf is able to treat our sort of medical mystery in the pilot with sort of such a sort of deft hand and in a creative fashion that I can't help but be awed by his ability to help this patient in a way that supersedes a by the book traditional surgical way. So I was drawn to that kind of a character who was a bit hard charging and master of the universe and God complex.
Right.
And why I love it now is for all the reasons that Zach spoke about. There's such a level of compassion that Wolf brings, and he slows the world down, and he makes sure he treats the whole patient and puts himself in their shoes and tries to see their POV. And he has a bunch of interns who are so devoted to his way of treating patients that I think it's made Josh's role on the show expand in that it's not just about, how successful is my surgery. It's about much more than that. We have exceeded, in my estimation, the writing and the storytelling in season 2 in a way that I think is even more compelling and more exciting. But we're only in episode 7. There's so much more to go. I know it's going to continue to be excellent because we just have such fantastic writers, a couple doctors. So everything is really ironclad and true. And we don't want to talk down to the audience. We want to reflect accurately through pace and through verbiage, how it would actually work in this environment. And we've added elements this season that make it even more exciting. There's an emergency department now. We talk about speed and efficiency, whereas Neuro and Dr. Wolf wants to slow things down and take their time. Emergency doesn't and can't function that way. There's an opposition building in the hospital as well around the two differing ways of treatment and patient care. And I think that also speaks to the larger sort of world we live in medically and treating mental health. We just seek to demystify and destigmatize.
Was there anything that made you fearful for coming into season 2? Was there anything? Because it is such a layered story. And I feel like this show really shows that fear can either push people away or really become fuel for understanding.
No, I mean, I feel like being a part of a network serialized story is a unique experience. And I've had it before. I haven't had it in a long time. I like the flexibility that's required and the malleability that we have to engage and employ. We can't be rigidly attached because we're only so far ahead of ourselves as the stories are being written.
Mhm.
So we're filming episode 7 now. We just got episode 8, and the writers are really working on episode 9. So, it's really a collaboration for us to be in conversation with our writers, particularly Michael Grassi, our showrunner, to understand where he sees the season going and how we can plant the seeds now that are going to, bear fruit later on. So I don't think there's anything I was scared of. It's just a matter of staying present, invested, and loosely attached, but not rigidly attached. And so far, so good. But it's a process. This is a very unique kind of storytelling, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. I was ready to come back to an ongoing story.
And you both talked about what you want the audiences really to take away from it, really like the representation. And I also want to emphasize that the show really talks about what it looks like to embrace difference. And so, how did that change your perspectives, or did it in any way when you were filming?
I mean, the diversity of the characters on our show, I think, is one of the things that makes it so resonant for audiences. The highest compliment that people can pay Brilliant Minds is that they see themselves in our stories. And so I love that we're telling different queer stories. We're telling different stories about people from a variety of socioeconomic backgrounds, ethnic experiences, spiritual, religious perspectives. We're really leaning
Neurodivergent.
into the things that make people unique, but also beyond the things that make them unique, I think we're really leaning into the very human aspect of what they're going through. And that's universal. I think it's really about the balance between the qualities and the characteristics of the people that we meet on the show that may be unique to them, but don't limit the universality of the experience that they're having dealing with their own medical issues and mysteries.
And if I could just say this, there's always a very beautiful voiceover at the end of the show where sort of Wolf's voice, guides the audience through these very, again, this is doubling down on the universal theme that we, as human beings, want the very same things, regardless of who we are, where we come from. And it themes like being understood and being accepted and being cared for and being heard. And we hurt the same way. We love the same way. We all experience anxieties and difficulties, and having friends and loved ones there, someone to see us and care for us when we need it the most, is so vital. It's just so vital. My hope is that everyone can see themselves in our show, because we're all human beings in this wild thing called the human experience, but we all ultimately experience a lot of the same things. And if we can remember that, I think we'll be okay. I hope we'll be okay.
Well, thank you all so much for joining me. I'm truly a huge fan, and as a sister with a brother with autism, the show means a lot to me. So thank you so, so, so much.